What is an open-world game if not a massive virtual landscape laden with stories, secrets, and extensive ground to cover? Well, much more, as it turns out, with the genre producing some of the finest games ever made. Whether you're interested in memorable narratives, incredible immersion, massive environments to mess around in, or all of the above, the open-world genre is more than worth looking into. But which titles should you prioritize? Check out our picks for the 30 best open-world games of all time as of 2025. Ghosts of Yotei. Everything about Sucker Punch's sequel is a step up from Ghosts of Tsushima. The exploration feels more organic as Eizo is brimming with interesting stories, mythic tales, and activities, with far fewer restrictions on where to go. Combat is more visceral than ever, with the different weapons mixing up the formula in fun ways. All in all, a fantastic sequel and a stellar open world game in its own right, which brings us to Red Dead Redemption 2. What many consider to be the gold standard for open world titles, Red Dead Redemption 2 is a narrative tour de force, offering one of the best stories in gaming. Start exploring though, and you'll discover a world laden with random events, impeccable attention to detail, and so much content that it could easily take 200 hours just to see it all. Suffice it to say that Rockstar has an insane bar to clear with Grand Theft Auto 6. The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. How do you improve on a title that not only redefined a franchise but also influenced the genre in terms of exploration and freedom? The answer, as Tears of the Kingdom proved, is to let players break it all, crafting orbital lasers and machines capable of near unlimited flight. Nintendo being Nintendo also included a better narrative, a more involving Hyrule with more content, the return of proper dungeons, additional traversal methods, and more for a grand epic. Dying Light: The Beast. After various missteps in Dying Light 2: Stay Human, Techland went all out with The Beast. The return of Kyle Crane, more dangerous and intelligent volatile, satisfying parkour, extensive gore, the list of improvements goes on. It may not offer the same scale as a proper sequel would, but Castor Woods is packed with interesting locations while maintaining the series' signature survival horror loop. Batman: Arkham Knight. Yeah, the Batmobile is the Batmobile, but Rocksteady ended the Arkham trilogy on a high note here. The sheer detail and fidelity of Gotham City was unlike anything at the time, and even put many modern titles to shame. That squad. Free-flow combat is as intricate and satisfying as ever, and tracking down the various villains alternating between investigations and fisticuffs was a blast. Infamous 2. Channeling the karma system from the original while offering a larger urban playground to go wild in, Infamous 2 follows the safe but generally endearing aspects of sequel to a T. Numerius is still a blast to explore though, and whether you're on the side of good or embracing the darkness, it all adds up in the thunderous, no pun intended, finale. Stalker 2: Heart of Chernobyl. Almost a year later, GSC Game World's Stalker 2 is much closer to what it first set out to offer. The post-nuclear grounds of the zone remain as haunting as ever, with powerful anomalies and horrifying mutants to deal with. But with A-Live 2.0 finally coming into its own, it feels more alive, existing independently of the player to create a truly immersive sandbox. There is still a ways to go, but it's a compelling survival sandbox all the same. The Elder Scrolls IV: Oblivion Remastered. There's something about venturing through Cyrodiil, taking in its sights, and getting swept up in incredible adventures that remains so endearing after all this time. Questionable optimization that still hasn't been fully addressed aside, The Elder Scrolls IV: Oblivion Remastered is a great blast from the past. The world design, the atmosphere, the spellcrafting, all of it's intact, complete with improvements to combat and a fix at long last to the terrible leveling system. Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster. Skirting the line between remaster and remake, Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster offers heavily overhauled visuals, bringing the struggle of Willamette Mall to life like never before. The sheer interactivity as everything becomes a weapon to unleash on hordes of zombies remains intact, but it's made even better with improved controls, autosaves, and full voice acting. Grand Theft Auto 5. There's a reason that Grand Theft Auto 5 keeps getting ported over to new platforms, GTA Online and general greed aside. More than a decade after release, it's still an incredible open-world title with that unmistakable Rockstar charm. If the novelty of controlling 3 protagonists isn't enough, then strolling through Los Santos and Blaine County, admiring the scenery as much as the incredible attention to detail will do. Either way, it's an open-world paradise that you won't want to leave. Watch Dogs 2. Say what you will about the first game and how it's underrated, but Watch Dogs truly peaked with the sequel. The setting felt more vibrant and involving, while showcasing what dystopia a widespread CTOS could bring. And Marcus's parkour skills meshed well with the greater degree of freedom to complete missions. Perhaps most important of all is that Watch Dogs 2 truly embraced the hacker fantasy, warts and all, while improving on everything from the original. SnowRunner. Saber Interactive Sim feels like one of the more questionable hear-me-out setups that the genre has to offer. Delivering cargo through extreme environmental conditions with realistic damage and physics, and yet it's one of the more involving and rewarding titles out there, as you take on missions in affected regions and help them get back on their feet. Fallout 3. After acquiring the Fallout IP back in the day, Bethesda's jump to first person for the sequel left more than a few hardcore fans disgruntled. It answered with Fallout 3, a gritty, unforgiving, and yet darkly comical trapeze through the wasteland, where you could just as easily recruit a super mutant as nuke a town. Even with the rough combat, the feeling of activating VATS and utterly obliterating an enemy's head remains as satisfying as ever. If that remaster is indeed real, it can't come soon enough. Far Cry 3. No matter how big Far Cry has gotten with its map size or all the different systems introduced, Far Cry 3 still stands tall as the series' best. The Rook Islands were simply brimming with secrets, collectibles, and enemy camps to decimate, and as obnoxious as protagonist Jason Brody could be, the campaign offered several fun moments, not to mention an incredible villain in Voss. Add in the excellent gunplay, the meaningful progression, and fantastic art direction, and it's easy to see why Far Cry 3 remains a must-play for anyone getting into the series. Sons of the Forest. End Night Games delivers exactly what you'd expect from a sequel to The Forest. More tools, more features, hooray for sleds, NPC companions, a larger map, and more ways to showcase your depravity. Like the original, there's an intriguing mystery at its core, but Sons of the Forest is best experienced from moment to moment, whether you're waking up in the wild to a cannibal ambush, joyriding through the wilderness in a golf cart, or venturing into the claustrophobic underground. Horizon Zero Dawn Remastered. Want the visual fidelity of Forbidden West combined with the narrative of Zero Dawn? Horizon Zero Dawn Remastered is the ticket, showcasing just how well the 2017 action RPG's world holds up after more than 7 years. Of course, it's far from a simple up-res with a higher frame rate. Environments are practically revamped from the ground up, and there's over 10 hours of re-recorded dialogue to go with the more natural cutscenes. All this and the Frozen Wilds expansion for just $49.99 makes the remaster a steal. Microsoft Flight Simulator 24. Despite the many issues at launch, which feels like a reoccurring theme with many entries on this list, Microsoft Flight Simulator 24 is still an incredibly ambitious undertaking. Between the trillions of trees and billions of buildings procedurally generated by the technology, the sheer number of airports painstakingly recreated from their real-world versions is simply awe-inspiring. Could it be less buggy and more realistic? Sure, but the sheer sensation of flying the world remains unmatched, except by its predecessor. Assassin's Creed Shadows. Say what you will about Assassin's Creed Shadows, the characters, and so on, especially in the wake of Ghost of Yotei. There's no denying that its open-world version of Nier and Sengoku-era Japan is stunning to behold, especially in its recreation of ports and cities. Even when exploring the wilderness, the attention to detail and fidelity are incredible, and it doesn't hurt that the combat and stealth are enjoyable. Kingdom Come: Deliverance 2. Much like Henry on his quest to avenge his parents, Kingdom Come: Deliverance's ambitions exceed its grasp. That's not the case with the sequel, however. More detailed cities, including the series' biggest in Kuttenberg, new firearms and highly improved combat, and an improved presentation were all well and good. But where Kingdom Come: Deliverance 2 truly excels is in its reactivity, immersion, and role-playing depth, allowing you to truly experience medieval life in all its grime and glory. The Witcher 3: Wild Hunt. A title that not only influenced open-world game design going forward, but remains one of the topmost standards for incredible quest design. And even if you ignore the sheer metric ton of secrets, treasure hunts, monster hunts, and secrets, there's still an incredible narrative to unpack. What more can you say that hasn't already been said about The Witcher 3? Play it if you haven't already. Days Gone Remastered. Even with Freaker's increasingly bleak circumstances and Sony not greenlighting a sequel, you can't keep Deacon St. John down. Days Gone Remastered enhances the original's visuals while adding new content, but everything that made it special is still intact. The survival elements, the feeling of road tripping through a zombie-infested wilderness, the sheer terror in facing down a horde, it's all here and feels better than ever. Tokyo Extreme Racer. Tokyo Extreme Racer, Genki's excellent sequel to the underrated classic racer, isn't like Forza Horizon in terms of its open world. Instead, you're cruising through the highways looking for the next competitor, working your way through rivals to sharpen those skills and reign supreme. It's an approach that's all about competitive racing with Tokyo serving as a moody backdrop, and it all works incredibly well. Slime Rancher 2. Imagine a farming game predominantly focused on slimes. That's Slime Rancher in a nutshell, and the sequel, recently out of early access, gives you more. It's not enough to explore a vibrant world, discovering and monetizing new slimes. There are ruins to venture through, a conservatory to expand, and oh, so much more to collect. Definitely worth checking out for those who want a more laid-back open-world experience. Cyberpunk 2077 plus Phantom Liberty. An overwhelming capitalist dystopia where dreams go to die, a meat grinder for endless wars between gangs, a playground of debauchery, and yet, Night City is where legends are made. Cyberpunk 2077, if it wasn't obvious enough, captures it all very well, whether it's unforgettable characters and incredible side quests, or just feeding into your own personal power fantasy with extensive cyberware and weaponry. Phantom Liberty is a whole other ballgame with its spy thriller narrative and Dogtown's own intricacies, and together, you have a sci-fi role-playing experience unlike anything else out there. Death Stranding 2 on the Beach. An expanded range of options, whether you're delivering on foot or vehicles, stealthy or guns blazing, would be pointless without an incredible world. Thankfully, Death Stranding 2 not only improves on the original's design, packing its locations with more to do, but offers way more varied terrain for the porter looking for some excitement. Throw in an even more eclectic cast of characters and cameos to go with Kojima's insanity, and you have an open-world experience unlike any other. Borderlands 4. When Gearbox said that Borderlands would feature the biggest universe it had ever built, it was surprisingly not hyperbole. Kairos is absolutely massive with varied biomes and so many things to do. When you're not taking quests from the locals or hunting bounty targets, there are order bunkers to explore, auger mines to delve into, and dig sites to dismantle. That's not even getting into the sheer range of secrets and low-key activities like the Gordello. Even with its performance issues at launch, exploring Kairos is simply a blast. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I don't think anyone expected the remake to go as big as it did with the second part in the FF7 Remake trilogy. And yet, the world of Rebirth is simply awe-inspiring, both in the amount of content offered and in the sheer diversity of it all. Minigames, new and old, hidden bosses and challenges, side quests that bring you closer to teammates, it's simply staggering, and that's before getting to the excellent combat. If Part 3 offers anywhere near this scale, then all three combined could make for the remake of all time. LA Noire. An antithesis to the packed open world of its competitors, including Rockstar's own GTA, LA Noire's setting of the city in the late 40s was more to do with the atmosphere and supporting the narrative. And make no mistake, between investigating different cases and interrogating suspects while advancing the plot, Team Bondi and Rockstar were on point. Of course, having some of the most realistic facial animations even to this day is pretty insane as well. No Man's Sky. There are open world games, and then there's No Man's Sky with its open universe. Even though its quintillions of planets are procedurally generated, Hello Games still presents a smorgasbord of incredible discoveries. Explore creepy derelicts, tame wild creatures to use as mounts, assemble a fleet, build a base underwater, spawn a living ship, heck, customize your own Corvette-class ship to commandeer with your friends. With over 9 years of free updates, No Man's Sky feels like the definitive space exploration sandbox. Elden Ring plus Shadow of the Erdtree. From Software's masterpiece offers some of its most devious bosses to date, and then ups the ante in the expansion. However, in terms of pure exploratory joy, Elden Ring is still extremely hard to top. Every corner offers some discovery or challenge, with the lands between and the Land of Shadow abuzz with their own vibrant mysteries. As infuriating and stressful as it can feel at times, there's nothing quite like exploring Leyndell for the first time, conquering Melania after dozens, maybe hundreds of tries, and ascending the jagged peak for some of the best voice acting of all time. Hey, did you know that we at Gaming Vault upload new videos every day? Stick around, drop a like, subscribe, and hit that bell. And let us know what kind of content you'd like to see in the future with a comment below.